Article 4.
I think when you look at the budget, the detail of the budget prior to the motion here in the warrant, you will see that the Finance Committee did do a recommendation that equaled what the department leaders brought forward. I think that speaks to the kind of process that we had this year, where we actually worked with those department leaders to be able to bring forth a budget that was, appropriate for the services that we provide. With that, I will actually move to the motion that the town fix the salaries of all elected officials for the fiscal year 2026 and appropriate funds for the payment of said salaries and compensation, including the approval and funding of the town's obligation under the collective bargaining agreements completed in the fiscal year and calendar year, the payment of debt and interest, provide for a reserve fund, and for charges, expenses, and outlays of the several town departments for the ensuing 12-month period from July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026. All is set forth in the budget presented by the Finance Committee in this warrant as evidenced in the final total in the column entitled Finance Committee Recommends, and is funding therefore to appropriate as follows: $33,154,209 raised from taxation, $3,397,713 raised from projected state revenue, $4,319,302 raised from estimated local receipts, $426,653 transferred from the Water Enterprise Fund usage fees, $223,629 transferred from the Sewer Enterprise Fund usage fees, $74,811 transferred from the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund usage fees. Say that fast. $2,156,188 transferred from the Gaming Stabilization Fund, and $839,264 transferred from the Bridge Stabilization Fund, for an operating budget total of $44,591,769.
The $839,264 that's going to get transferred from the Bridge Stabilization Fund, is any of that opposite some of the policies that were made, or is this a new policy to move that out? Because there was a policy to kind of watch the stabilization fund not to use for operating budget. So how is that changing it now?
So in terms of our using free cash this year to fund the Bridge Stabilization Fund, that's in accord with the policy as we wrote it, so we're not in violation for that purpose. It's very similar to what we did when we set up the Capital Stabilization Fund last year. It's a good place to save our free cash, not spend it hiring people, and not fritter it away, but instead save it for those important needs. And we see this bridge fund and the transfer that we're using tonight to support it as a necessary means of taking care of the assessment we have for the Tri-County Building Project without going out for any additional tax money from the residents.
Article 4 passes by a majority.